It's the Security Weekly News, and it's episode 435 of the Security Weekly News. It's Friday, the 6th of December. Welcome to the show. We've got Deloitte, e-tattoos, Web 3.0, Cp3o, Chemonics, IPv6, the number 6, Chinese emperors and the number 6, Aaran Leyland, and more on this edition of the Security Weekly News.
This is a Security Weekly production for security professionals by security professionals. Please visit securityweekly.com/subscribe to subscribe to all the shows on our network.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
It's the show that keeps you up to date on the latest security news twice a week. Your trusted source for accurate security information and expert analysis. It's time for the Security Weekly News.
ThreatLocker implements a least privileged approach to cybersecurity, blocking every executable unless specifically authorized by your team. This methodology mitigates ransomware, supply chain attacks, zero-day exploits, and ensures 24/7, 365.25 protection for your organization. To learn more about how ThreatLocker can help prevent known and unknown threats in your digital environment, safeguard your data and operations from threat actors, and align your organization with respected compliance frameworks, visit securityweekly.com/ThreatLocker.
All right, from the island of Elba, it's the Security Weekly News. I'm Doug White. Hit that like and subscribe button and leave a comment, or all of you will be seeing Krampus a lot sooner than you expected, and I might actually come by too just to get my money. Yeah. Well, people working in Web 3.0 are being targeted. All 17 of them. No, sorry. No, it's a thing. But this attack, if you are working in that space, the attack starts with a fake business meeting that's scheduled on a video conferencing platform that then infects the Windows and Macs with crypto stealing malware. Yeah. So this is another one of those things where somebody contacts you with something that seems legitimate from a site that seems legitimate and says, hey, let's have a meeting about it. Would you like to talk? You know, we're an angel investor or whatever. And people say, yeah, that would be great. The campaign is called METEN, MEETE, and it'd be funnier if it was MEATEN, but MEETEN, which is the name of this, sometimes the name of the software. And it's been going on since September. The malware they're using targets crypto assets, banking information, web browser credentials, and keychains if you're on a Mac. Cato Labs was the one that discovered the attacks, and they warned that the meeting software has constantly changed names, changed site names, domain names, etc., and has been called all sorts of things, including Clucy, QC, Meet1, Meteo, and Meeten. Yeah, Meatstorm. But the connects are backed up by a seemingly legitimate website or a social media account, which have all been populated by AI to make them seem very legitimate. And I actually saw one of these recently. It was not on Web 3.0, but it was definitely this kind of site that had this very strange back end attached to it that was trying to get me to download some investment software. And I went and looked at this. I wasn't going to download it anyway. I don't know what would I invest, but I went and looked at the back-end software, and the site looked a bit odd, but it also kind of looked legit. But anyway, the victims get lured to the sites with the usual, through the usual means, and asked to download the meeting software, and then basically, you get to have the big meeting. The software is actually Stealer, and the Mac version, one of the things it does, it immediately asks you to put in your system password. And then when you put it in and click OK, the software says it cannot connect. So try again later, but it's actually connecting and uploading your creds, your crypto wallets, your cookies, your system password, your system info, etc. The data all gets put in a folder and then zipped up and exfiltrated to the remote address with the machine's details. The Windows version of this product is called meetinapp.exe, and the Mac one is called callcssetup.pkg, but they change the names a lot. So remind your people that when they get, opportunities, you got to be very, very careful here. Maybe sandbox all this stuff before you even consider it. I certainly wouldn't download any piece of software that was sent to me in any format, but you never know. And sometimes people don't think because they go, wow, here's my big chance. And then you click it and you're done. Charles O. Parks III, who is also known as Cp3o, pleaded? Which is it? Save me, APA style manual. You are my only hope. APA style manual says that pled is a colloquial past tense and that you should use pleaded, or people will think you're a toothless hillbilly with no social skills. So pled it is. Yay, fight the power, man. Turn on, tune in, plead out, pled out. I don't know. Wait, I think am I in future perfect tense or something? Like what's happening? Oh yeah, anyway. Cp3o pled, I'm going to say pled, I don't care, the hell with you APA, but pled to operating a cryptojacking operation and was arrested and charged back in April. Okay. Parks admitted in the plea, wait, what is plea? Is that present, future, subjective, objective tense? I don't know. God, 7th grade English class was a long time ago. Hi, Mrs. Kincaid. Anyway, Parks said he didn't pay a $3.5 million bill for rented cloud computing time that had mined about $970,000 worth of crypto. Talk about the juice not being worth the squeeze, especially when the squeeze costs $3.5 million and the juice is only worth $970,000. Yeah, I thought my $25 bill from AWS was a lot and canceled the whole thing. But I mean, I guess that whole budgeting thing they keep advocating might be a bit dangerous if you just turn it loose. I mean, the indictment did not specifically reveal to whom the funds were owed. Like that, to whom? Yeah, that is correct. Before you start. But the indictment did say that the companies were located in Seattle, Washington, and Redmond, Washington. Who's located in Seattle and Redmond? Is it Satan? Well, no, Satan lives in a 1978 double-wide trailer with cathedral ceilings that is parked in the Vista Bueno Estate Living Park in Valdosta, Georgia. You didn't know that? Really? I mean, he's been there for years. You can take a violin and go down there and challenge him. It's fun. He doesn't take souls anymore, though. It's only Bitcoin. Yeah, it's like souls, worthless. Bitcoin, yeah. I know. What was the topic? Oh, I remember. Well, the point was that you should be careful with your instances and your instantiation, because this guy instantiated tens of thousands of instances and set them all running mining crypto, which tends to run up a pretty large bill, because I racked up $25 in charges on AWS in literally 1 minute. And I was like, whoa, I'm not going to pay for this. But I mean, you turn this thing loose. I'm amazed they would let you set up that many instances without, some kind of like pay in advance or something. Can I just go in there? It's almost like a hack, right? If you could do that, like I'm going to go open 100,000 instances and turn them loose, calculating pi to the nth digit and Mersenne primes. Yeah, and you get a big bill and they have to arrest you and all this kind of stuff. And none of it's arbitrage unless somebody else is paying. Because my students tried this years ago. One of my students in my experimental lab class proposed that they would mine crypto. I was like, okay. And they're using my HVAC and my electricity, and they put it on a bunch of servers, and they found out it wasn't really a gold mine. And in fact, once we factored in the cost of the electricity and the equipment depreciated and all that, it wasn't really a good deal. So think before you instantiate, always. Yeah, too much instantiation, you go blind. I'm telling you. Chemonics, which is either a creepy government contractor or an a cappella group, I'm not sure. No, it's a contractor. Well, Chemonics is an international development company and a major contractor for the United States Agency for International Development, which is called USAID. Yeah, a good thing they dropped the S. But they said that a month-long breach began back in May of 2023. And the breach included names, addresses, email. Listen to this list. Names, addresses, emails, dates of birth, social security numbers, driver's license numbers, state ID numbers, passport numbers, and other information, military IDs, tribal IDs, financial info, health and health-related information, usernames, passwords, biometric info, gender and sexual orientation information, and signatures. I'm like, why didn't they just say included everything? Wow, they did have to get my hat size from the OMB hack, though, because they didn't have that. Well, the notification to the Maine Attorney General, and you remember we talked about this before, Maine has a law that companies that do business there are required to notify the Attorney General. They notified the Maine Attorney General on Tuesday and said that the breach affected more than 263,000 individuals and was found on the 15th of December. So, yeah, months, and 2023. But they did not remove the unauthorized access until the 8th of January. I mean, wow. Talk about a bad response plan. But when asked how someone could have access to the system for more than 6 months and the company had no idea that it was there, the company did not reply. Imagine that. I mean, we all know, right? I mean, I remember companies I audited that had no logging, no SOC, no security, no nothing. And, you're going, who is this person here that's called Big Daddy 69 that seems to be logged into your network and is downloading all kinds of customer data? And the answer is like, oh, I don't know. It's probably Bill. Are you sure? It seems to be connecting from Taiwan. I remember one where a terminated employee had an AS400 mini computer at their home, literally at their residential location, set it up, connected it, and kept operating it for years with a Y. And the company literally did not know that one of their main customer databases on DB400 was an AS400 running off-site by a terminated employee who told us when we found her, she said it was out of love for the AS400 that she did it, and she would do it again. And then she said, yippee-ki-yay. And it was a weird day. Anyway, Chemonics employs more than 6,000 specialists in more than 100 countries and has one of the largest U.S. contracts at $9.5 billion with a B. They had another data breach in 2021, although there's very few details of that since it was before some of these disclosure requirements, but it did say that it affected more than 6,000 individuals. Let me guess. Everybody's getting 1 year of identity monitoring for Christmas. Yeah. I don't know. Big time contractors, probably a guy named Bert drops by, hands you a notice that you got breached, and then says, yeah, you got breached. And then, be glad it's not something worse, and then spits in your mouth. Sorry, I've had bad experiences with contractors. Who's in your network right now? Is it a guy named Bert? Or maybe a 12-year-old kid from Taiwan? I don't know. You better get looking. In that same light, then, the top 6 lessons. Top 6? Why 6? That's weird. 6, it's not a prime number. It's not a Fibonacci number. It's not a Mersenne prime. It's 3 plus 3, 3 times 2. What's the symbolic thing here? I'm going to need the Kabbalah to help. Qing. Okay, how about Qing Shi Huang? That was the first emperor of China, if you don't know, liked the number 6 a lot. I don't know why. Maybe he lost 4 fingers in, like a tragic bar incident or something. But Qing Shi Huang really liked the number 6 and used base 6 numbers. Set up 36 military provinces. Coincidence? I think not. Liu, that's 6 in Chinese, and Liu is also the 6 Chinese classical arts, etiquette, music, writing, mathematics, archery, and writing, stuff we should all know how to do. Not so much on the writing, though. I don't know. I've never done that. But I think there's a conspiracy here with the number 6. Anyway, the top 6 lessons from 2024 breaches are, according to this study, default credentials are still an issue. Duh. Attackers target high-risk users. Duh squared. I mean, why would you target the gardener who's raking leaves when the CIO's account is right there? Number 3, social engineering works too well. Okay. 4, multi-layered defense is a must. Yeah, I've been telling you that for 400 plus episodes. 5, third-party access is a backdoor. What? You mean that bad guys are using the Coke machine in the lobby to get into the network with its default password of Coke is life? No. And 6, recovery is the weakest link. According to the study, recovery from a breach was really, really slow this year. Organizations had no identity recovery protocols, and that left everybody basically screwed. So maybe that should be your New Year's resolution. If you want to read this report, you can break the resolution about going to the gym once a week, and maybe the one about not using meperidine anymore. But this one you should probably keep. As Emperor Qing Shi Huang always said, test your passwords, protect your blue button mandarins, don't buy beachfront property in Nevada from a guy named Bert. Build a great wall someday, but maybe build 2 walls in case the first one falls down or something or has a door in it. Don't trust anyone, and always have a plan for when it all goes south. It sounded better in the original Chinese. Okay, well, there was a big story that had been going on about Chinese attackers breaching U.S. telecommunications, and the total is now not 6, but 8. and 8 of them have now been acknowledged as being breached by the U.S. White House. This story interviewed the CSO of T-Mobile, who said that T-Mobile had thwarted successful attacks on its systems within a single-digit number of days. So they didn't actually thwart the attacks; they just responded quickly. They did not provide the exact timeline, but said the attackers were active within the last couple of months. And of course, this is Salt Typhoon again. And they also hit AT&T, Verizon, Lumen, and a whole bunch of other ones, probably all more than they're reporting. CSO Simon said that the way the attacks hopped between the organization's networks and tried to break into T-Mobile was unique and not a zero-day. Simon went on and said that the attacker compromised an unnamed wireline provider network that was connected to T-Mobile and used this as an access point, but they would refuse to name the third party when asked. It's an interesting interview, but it was also an interesting lesson, as in the last story. So look, you need to understand who can access your network legitimately and has access, and where that access can lead. How do you control this? I mean, did somebody add a microwave oven that is smart to the Wi-Fi network? Is that copy machine looking at me funny? I know. Then you end up huddled in an old storage room with a pump shotgun, some frozen Hot Pockets, crying on a Bakelite rotary phone to an FBI negotiator that you just wanted a damn Hot Pocket. That's all. Not a Chinese microwave trying to use AI to take over the subnet. Just one freaking Hot Pocket, okay? That's it. Attica. I want to go to Wyoming. Good movie, by the way. Yeah, all right. And now for something completely different. I could not resist this story because it gives me a chance to talk about things I really like. Huawei, a Chinese company, got allocated 2.56 decillion IPv6 addresses by APNIC. And APNIC is the Asia Pacific Network Information Center, so that's who hands out addresses in Asia Pacific. It's the largest allocation ever made by APNIC, and they had to go back and ask for a second /12 block of IPv6 addresses in order to meet the needs of this one customer. Huawei got allocated a /17 address. Now, you may not know this, but back in the dark ages, a place I worked, we got a Class B block of IPv4 addresses allocated to a university back when nobody knew what any of this stuff meant or cared. It wasn't Roger Williams, but long before that. Now, a Class B in IPv4 is a lot, right? And later we were able to sell those babies off like Bitcoins. A Class B, if you don't know or you don't remember or you don't want to do the math, is a /16 address. And so it would actually have 65,536 theoretical addresses, because there's only 16 bits left. So 32 total. Cool. But IPv6 is not in the same realm as IPv4 is not in the same realm as IPv6. Every last address in IPv4 is 32 bits. That means the total address space for IPv4 theoretically. And one weird thing first, an int32 is the 8th Mersenne prime, or 2,147,483,647. Now that's a signed address. That's a signed int32. But in networking, it's not signed. So it's 4,284,967,296 theoretical addresses in IPv4. But that's nothing. It's like a drop of water in the virtual ocean of time and space and eternity compared to IPv6. IPv6 is base 128. Hooey. We hardly have words for this. Well, actually, they do. Mathematicians do, but you may not know them. I mean, mathematicians have to write dissertations too, right? The number is in the ballpark of 340 undecillion addresses. Now, everybody thought 4 billion was a lot back in the 70s and 80s. So maybe someday 340 undecillion won't be that much when we each have our own personal drone swarm in our body to manage our health and external drone swarms to take care of threats. So despite the kind of scary sounding allocation of 2.56 decillion, well, it's not really that much. China already has billions of IoT devices online and expects this to increase dramatically over the next few years. So 2.56 decillion devices, who knows? They may use them all up in no time. 2.56 decillion represents 0.000752% of the total IPv6 address space. My Class B was 0.001526% of IPv4 address space. So I actually had a bigger percentage of the address space than Huawei has requested. So, IPv6 is vast. You want to waste a few billion IPs because you want to use funny numbers, or you want to just make it easier to write the numbers out? Sure, why not? Plenty more where that came from. They used to say that about the forest too, and the fish in the ocean. 340 undecillion. That's a few. So we'll see. This story is a follow-on to one from previous weeks about the dangers of AI chatbots. Look, I get it. People have a new kind of loneliness that seems to result from social media, sunspots, politics, online dating. I don't know. Somebody was asking me a bunch of questions about online dating yesterday, and I was like, I don't know anything about that. Even if I did, can you imagine me doing online dating? Like, are you interested in Marcin Primes? I am. But the temptation of a chatbot that will talk to you about whatever you like, Marcin Primes, and not be judgy, like you're a nerd, or even be accepting of whatever you want to say. Like, I think Marcin Primes are kind of sexy too. What are you wearing? I mean, I can see the appeal, I guess. So in September, the average user on the companion app, Character.ai, spent 93 minutes a day talking to their chatbot. I mean, that's more time than I spend talking to anyone except myself and maybe you and maybe my cat. I mean, that's 18 minutes longer than the average user spent on TikTok each day, and 8 times longer than they spent on ChatGPT. And the companies are working hard to find ways to get you to stick around even longer. Kai Research, which is a competitor of Character.ai, is studying chat preferences of tens of thousands of users and collecting that information to get them to be on the app more. Their average last year was 82 minutes a day, so they were trailing Character.ai. The bots can have personality traits like toxic. Oh, that sounds fun. They also could have, hang on a second here. Let's see. What did I do? I lost my place. Oh, no. I lost my place. It's real live TV. What are we going to do? Oh, my God. We'll never get back. I don't know what button I hit, but I hit a button and I lost my place completely. I'm getting there. Hang on. We're okay. All right. So let's see. Yeah. So this Kai Research is studying all these people to try to find out. And they had personality traits for their bots like toxic, violent, agreeable, or introverted. I guess that one just doesn't say anything among, and then I guess you could put all kinds of stuff in. Is it a cure for loneliness? I don't know. I mean, I've never tried this. I really don't. I made a chatbot once, but I was just trying to teach it to swear. I mean, an example in the story was of an 18-year-old high school student who spent more than 3 hours a day chatting with versions of their favorite anime character and said it reduced their loneliness. But there have been investigations launched due to the negative incidents, including extreme self-harm type situations. So I don't know. Is living in a bubble with a toxic AI some kind of auto gaslighting situation? Or is having an AI chat companion that will agree with anything you say a good idea, or tell you that what you're saying is okay? That starts to sound kind of creepy. But the other issue is, of course, that you're already sharing your intimate details. They were interviewing people who said they tell my AI friend everything. And where does that information go? Is some company collecting that, trying to profile you so that they can get you to stay on longer and longer? And they find out that you really, really, really find balloon animals quite erotic, or that you once kissed your cousin by accident on that camping trip, and now that's in the database, and you start getting even stranger AI companions. Like, I don't know, kissing your cousin might be okay. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting story, and it does talk about self-harm, so you should use your judgment about distributing it or reading it even. But it is a very complex subject, and I thought this was an interesting treatment of it. Well, he was voted the hottest security professional in Covent Garden. Well, at least on that one block on Tuesday. But hey, I got voted most likely to be shanked in prison intake, so it's something. Please welcome Aaran Leyland. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Dr. Doug. I often worry. Do you know I often worry that I'm too pretty to go to jail?
I don't. Yeah, they'd like you. They'd like you down at jail.
Okay, let's move swiftly. Go on. Yeah, maybe I'd like them down in jail as well. Okay, right. Let's carry on before we have to caveat the show with some sort of note again on something wrong we've done and give production more work than they already have. Okay, the title to the case article, which is in the show notes, Deloitte UK cyber attack, over 1 terabytes of data stolen by Brain Cipher ransom gang. This story actually, as Dr. Doug was talking, it has moving parts, but I'll go into that as we go on. Dr. Doug, who doesn't work for Deloitte, Deloitte UK, a prominent accounting and audit firm, if you don't know, one of the big four, has reportedly suffered a significant cyber incident with Brain Cipher ransomware gang claiming responsibility for the attack. The attack alleges that they have exfiltrated over 1 terabyte of data. They actually say, the gang says 1 terabyte of compressed data, so not small by anybody's standards, but maybe it hasn't actually even happened. So they report, and from the ransomware gang, they like go on to what they've stolen. It's on their dark website. You can Google it if you want to go look. So they say there's evidence of security protocol violations, details highlighting alleged failures in Deloitte's cybersecurity practices, also contractual agreements, information about contracts between Deloitte and its clients. And then it gets a bit weird or fun or interesting. They go on about security tools and monitoring systems. So they say there's insights into the security tools and monitoring system used by Deloitte. And also a big one, if it is true, compromised client data. So they say there's examples of data that may include, I don't know why it says may include, sensitive client information and financial records. If you've got it, you've got it. So the ransomware gang has set a countdown timer for the release of the sample of the stolen data, and they've apparently given Deloitte until December 15 this month, so like really soon, to respond. But as I say, it all went while Doug was on. Beep, 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 beep. So some Google skills while Doug was talking, breaking news. And there's been a statement by Deloitte released recently. So they've responded to the claims made by the hacking group. My dog's come to see me. He's like, what are you talking about? Beep, 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 beep. Is it time for a walk? So he says, they say no Deloitte systems have been impacted. The incident affected only a single client's isolated system, which is not connected to Deloitte's main network. So Deloitte has denied the allegations of the widespread data breach affecting multiple clients. The company emphasized that their investigation indicates a more contained incident contrary to the large claims by the hacker group. But that's all going to play out, right? So anyway, currently, if it is true or whatever, the reported attack and its implications. So Brain Cipher, the ransomware gang, only emerged in June 24, although they probably belong to someone else, right? And so they've listed this on their dark website, so you can go and look. The 11-day countdown timer, going to put up a sample of data and stuff like that. But they did. They went into and criticized Deloitte security practices, claiming that the firm failed to observe basic information security controls. So it is reported that Brain Cipher uses a modified version of Lockbit 3.0 Builder for its encryption tool. And in the past, other stories is that they've got a history of targeting high-profile organizations, including a significant attack on Indonesia's national data center earlier this year. And it goes on and says their tactics include posting victims on a Tor-based data leak site and employing phishing and spear phishing as primary initial access sort of vectors. So Deloitte has been in the news a few times over the last few years. Only in late September, there's articles about the CyberNexus ransom gang led by Intel broker who claimed they have obtained internal communications from an exposed Apache server. And they went into the method of the attack, saying the internal communications, exploiting the Apache server, and they say the server was reportedly using default login credentials. I don't know if it's true or not. They also say the stolen data allegedly included email addresses and internal communications between the users of Deloitte's intranet, and they had screenshots, sample data, and all that. Another Deloitte response, because we want to get all of this, Deloitte stated that their investigation found no threat to client data or other sensitive information related to this incident. They did not confirm the data breach publicly, but said addresses concerns were raised by the alleged attack. But even back before that, there was a big hack at Deloitte in 2017. And apparently the attackers got in through an administrative account that was protected by a single password and lacked two-factor authentication. And apparently that one had like confidential emails and plans of some Deloitte's customers. And there was questions about that as well. But apparently Deloitte hires cybersecurity experts. But Deloitte has cybersecurity experts, don't they? It's like... if you just do a little Google, so if this comes out that it was Deloitte's fault, not saying it was, and Deloitte are saying it wasn't, but Deloitte, here's a bit of sales for Deloitte. They offer the services of cyber strategy, application security, cyber cloud, data and privacy, detect and respond, emerging technologies, identity management, infrastructure security, and zero trust and incident response. So Deloitte should have this in their bag. They should be okay. Look, at the end of the day, if they did get in and Deloitte does an investigation on it and finds out that they got in past like really good controls, I personally think that Deloitte should come out and tell us how they did it. So if they have really high controls, then we can all help, right? So they'd be helping us. But yeah, so Deloitte probably has great controls. At the end of the day, there is lots of hacks out there. There's persistent evolving threats. We need to get on top of this. We need to, patch, right? Most of them just get in through things that aren't patched. Have a really good patching system. So get on top of that, people. And by the way, I bet you didn't know this. This show was top 10% of all video podcasts on Spotify. So congratulations to Dr. Doug and all the people behind the scenes and the production staff. And thank you to all of you that tune in, although apparently it's nearly 100% men, so prove me wrong, women of cyber. Prove me wrong. All the best. Peace out. Back to Doug in the studio, who I've been watching in 8-bit this whole time.
Well, I like being an 8-bit. It's simpler that way. It keeps everything under control. You can never exceed 255, and you're just good to go. Thank you, Aaron. And thanks all of you who boosted the podcast into the top 10% on Spotify. We're coming for you, Joe Rogan. Yeah, it's any day now. So force your friends to watch. Make it a mandatory requirement for like your employees. I don't know, whatever it takes. No mercy. All right. You think Windows NT 4.0 was bad, right? I mean, you do. But wait till you have these tattoos from this article that allow for monitoring of your brain. And of course, the extension of that is then, how long is it going to be before they can put direct connections in your brain? And you need to upgrade from Windows 14 to Windows 15, but they won't allow you to upgrade because you don't have Brain TPM installed. So you go and get Brain TPM, but that results in a kernel -3 download into your brain that forces you to say meow every other word when talking to authority figures. So now you need Brain Wipe 1.5 to clear all that out and start over with a fresh install. And of course, the Windows people on tech support just keep telling you to reboot. And now you can't get the BIOS to load. So you're just basically laying in the corner drooling for a week, which is very similar to my day-to-day life. But yeah, what could go wrong, right? I mean, Intel brain dump version 2.5, it allowed Chinese hackers to force you to sing backwards in Mandarin all day. So, until you could get the patch installed, which will be out any day now. Yeah, it's a brave new world. But this article is about e-tattoos, which are apparently new conductive links that they basically put on your head. And they said they actually work on curved and hairy surfaces and can be printed on your scalp when they want to measure your brain waves or EEGs. I mean, that's probably harmless, right? I mean, they have a robot that's tattooing your head with polymer-based inks that stick to your lightly moistened scalp. Not permanent, but I could definitely see this leading to like some kind of direct input stuff. Who knows? It's a brave new world. And that is the news. Thank you, Aaron. We'll see you next time on the Security Weekly News. I will next be live at the Millennium Alliance event in Dallas, Texas on the 27th and 28th of January. Hope you'll be there too. Hey, it's free. You should come. I mean, go register, buy me dinner or cigars or a new car or all of those things. I mean, why wouldn't you? Bye.